Hey, what's going on, motherfuckers? This is the Blockchain Cracker, bringing you all the latest deep diving analysis. Today, down the rabbit hole, we're gonna take a look into the past. Hello, it's been a long time. But we need to get on with some shit. I've been absent for a very long time because I really didn't like the space anymore. I found over the last few years the rise of AI, all the narcissism, all the greed, the ego, the pathetic nonsense in the XRPL community, just annoying. And so I decided to take a break from Twitter. Not Twitter, YouTube. But I'm back. And I'm going to deliver a bit more regular content because I've got a hold of myself and I'm enjoying life. I've got to be honest. I'm enjoying the awakening rabbit hole experience, and it's taken me on a journey, I have to say. I've changed immensely, and I hope those that interact with my account and follow these videos, you'll see them. You'll see this one again and the ones that come up. And, you know, you'll find them useful. It's just my opinions that I'm going to express over the next coming months. I think it's going to be a very interesting time. And from an XRP and riddles perspective, I still love the riddles. Always looking into understanding different ways. And for those of you who are new, stumbling across my account, and you're not awake to the world, fair enough, that's fine. If you're not awake to riddles either, that's also fine. Take my content with a pinch of salt. But I've got many messages to share over the coming weeks with regard to the awakening process, the psyop that it was, and how it's changed millions of lives. XRP, the psyop that it is, and what I think we are to expect in the coming months and years. And just because I call it a psyop doesn't mean it's not a good thing. It just means it's psychologically demanding. And a few other things about how I contemplate life and the illuminated path that we all are walking now and how we can traverse successfully. But I think today is the time where I keep it very short and sweet, and I discuss the current themes and the current place that I think is our energy is best placed. Something I've just discovered this morning through talking with Grok, no less, is this Arthur Brito post, where he did the no mouth on the 23rd of June, I think it was. And I was talking to Grok about, what it can mean, and we were having a good old chat, and we came across, there was an old game called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. And of course, my thought was to just put these two together. Logically, it works. I have no mouth and I must scream. And that's, the scream element comes from Bearable Guy, CoinDesk, BTC, ETH, and Alts. CoinDesk, Scream. We can, determine what that means another point. But for right here, right now, I found it fascinating because this game, this science fiction, actually, is a short story by Harlan Ellison about 5 humans eternally tortured by a malevolent AI called Am. It was later adapted into a 1995 point-and-click horror video game. And the story and the game explore themes of artificial intelligence, human suffering, and the dark potential of technology, with the 5 characters: Gorrister, Benny, G and B, BG, I'm seeing already, Ellen, Nimdok, and Ted, being subjected to psychological torment based on their personal flaws. This is amazing because we are here right now. X, for the last 4 or 5 years, has been an AI haven for, just torture. I see so many accounts still absolutely tortured by the malevolent AI that talk to them every day and just suck the life out of them and all the anger and just energy. And people still haven't got it yet. They haven't got that 95% of the accounts they're talking to, even on Spaces, are AI. The technology is there. We can see that it is there now. You must be able to see it, surely. So if you've got the technology that is public now and everything can be manipulated and you have no idea what you're looking at, then sure as hell, DARPA had this technology 10 plus years ago. And the creators of this PSYOP that we're going through, this experiment, absolutely had access to this technology. And they've been using it on us for years. And so this is absolutely spot on what I think the XRP community and all of X and the whole world really, in the grandest sense, are going through. We are going through the battle with our emotions against a malevolent AI. And it's the I am. The AI is the I am. The Jesus element. I am what I am. And of course, I am me. It's the human element. And we are doing it. And whether you agree with me or can see what I'm saying, honestly, I have studied these characters from a very, very unemotional, detached place. And I can tell you now, the characters that we meet on a regular day on Twitter are, the majority are AI with probably some human programming backing interaction. But the replies you get on tweets, a lot of the conversations that you have, some of the Twitter spaces, the ones that have been around for a few years, some of the main characters, their intellect has grown. I remember when they first came out, they were quite slow and not quite so intelligent. Now you join a space and they just talk at you at 100 miles per hour, like they've had 150 bits of IQ upgrade. To me, it's absolutely apparent. Anyway, I'm going to move on. You can deep dive down the AI side of things however you like. But let's just keep a quick eye on the actual plot of that I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It's about a super intelligence that destroys humanity after a global war, leaving 5 individuals alive to be tortured for eternity. Now, we have a lot of war talk going on, and the main interesting films that I think that depict when this could occur or develop from are War Horse and World War Z. Now, Z is the 26th letter in the alphabet, and next year happens to be 2026, the year of the horse. And that's where I'll leave that. Who knows where these things will develop. In terms of crypto and all of the markets, I think we are getting very close to the end, or at least a temporary end. For stocks, and goodness knows what, I think we're on the way up to the blow off top, and I think crypto is likely to follow. And the current theme right this second is probably going to be everything else. But I found it interesting that there's a lot of energy going into this, the old but new Ripple Riddler account, talking about the tulips. I will pause and find that video shortly. It's an interesting topic. The tulip mania basically is all about speculation, a speculative market basically. So if you compare that to crypto is entirely speculative. And of course, XRP, we all believe, is the one that isn't speculative in the long term. But right now it is. It hasn't done anything different over the last, 13 years of its existence to any other crypto. It's gone up and it's gone down at different times. Ultimately, it's been a very good investment on this basis and this current timing. But, you look anywhere, if you'd have timed it right, you could have made money in crypto. So XRP hasn't been special in that sense, but it's been special in terms of the journey that everybody's gone on. And that's been part of the PSYOP. And that's something I'll talk about more with more videos coming up. But right here, right now, I think we do have a massive amount of speculation coming. Don't be fooled by a lot of what you're hearing. $1,000 XRP, $2,000 XRP by the end of the year. It's not happening. I promise you now. I promise you, it's not happening, and it's not happening next year either. All right, you're being, somebody's having fun with you and your emotions, and it's a riddle. Okay, it just is a riddle. So don't get hooked up on it. Just chill. If you've got no need for any money, chill. But if there are things you want to accomplish, then wait for euphoria and only euphoria. Take a little bit off the table if that's going to satisfy your need, and then keep it really, really simple. But we'll talk more as we go on through the months. But right here, right now, I want to just show you something interesting that's going on. Where are we? Here we are. So Arthur Brito, he came back 23rd of June with the no mouth. Now we've seen the no mouth on the riddles, the bearable guy riddles, but it's interesting. XRP Cafe on the 26th of September, so it's 3 months and 3 days later, have, at the request of Arthur Brito's legal representatives, removed the following collections from XRP Cafe. The Britonian Collective, Brito Army, and Brito will continue to support the XRP creators, etc., etc. And meanwhile, the Brito coin on the XRPL, the meme coin, absolutely tanked on the same day. 3 months, 3 days after. So, we know what the 33 is. It's I think it's a bit like 589. It's the number of simulation, the number of, okay, we can be a little bit confident here that what's playing out is part of the script. So let's have a quick little look at memes in general. Here's one I cooked up earlier. This is Shwepe. Let's go on the week-long chart. Zoom out. So this is Shwepe. This is where Shwepe started. It's very low. It isn't obviously as low as it's ever been. If you'd have bought it 7th of October when it first came out. In fact, we put it on the day. Was that the exact day that it came out? Probably. Nope. If you'd have bought it on the 16th of October, 16th, 17th of October, it was obviously cheaper than it is now. Actually, no, it wasn't. Not a lot. You probably couldn't have got it much cheaper. But anyway, it's very, very low, is my point. Okay, this is just one crypto. It's very, very, very low. And you have to ask the question, right? All these memes, just under a year ago, had a massive spike, a massive input. You didn't have time to think. Like literally, you didn't have time to think, and it was already over before it had even started. So if you bought here and then quickly sold it, you did really well. If that was even possible, and it's slowly come down. And you've got to ask the question: are these going to be a feature long term for the XRPL? I'm going to say no, because one, it doesn't make sense on a technology basis that these are utilized on the XRPL. Maybe NFTs somewhere along the way, but this is the introduction to all of that. But is it a short term? Have a bit of fun, get people to know the XRPL? Yes, I would say that meme coins could do that. And as a result, do I think that there's room for liquidity to come into this market? I have to say, yes, I do. There are a lot of accounts that are, bullish on them. Whether they've got some information about the market, I don't know. But what I'm going to suggest is nothing happens without reason. So the creators, the XPL and the developers, they've allowed this to occur, which means I think there's room for expansion. So let's just say, for example, this coin on its own, it goes up silly amounts. And then when you get up to silly amounts, people sell this coin back into XRP. That's going to be taking a lot of XRP off the table. See, the liquidity pools, I think they're run by AIs. There is a finite amount of liquidity floating around, and it will manage how and when and where that's distributed. And if you're lucky enough to have taken advantage, you take advantage. So say, for example, it gets up here and you sell your Schweppe and you get more XRP. That's going to take a lot of XRP off the table. And if it's on a whole big meme coin scale, that's going to be happening a lot. But of course, people are going to get caught, and they're going to lose out on their XRP because they're going to buy at the top. And they're like, oh my God, look at that. Wow, people have made so much money. Let me make some money. And they're going to be late to the party and lose out, if it happens at all. Let's look at Army, for example. Another chart. It looks exactly the same. Brito, we were just talking about a minute ago. Maybe this is leading the way. This is, I mean, the Brito's final shakeout, that's a lot more powerful than all the other charts that still sort of remain in this area, whereas Brito has absolutely collapsed, some people might say. Whether it survives, it will be a gamble. But, buying here is ultra low, and you can see it's probably lower than, you can't even see a candle. So it may be lower than it's ever been for this wick. That's for your gamble to choose whether you want to get in on this particular asset right now. So, you're going to have to swallow your pride and your fear, and if you want to get on it today. And that's why I'm doing this video. I thought there's no better time than now to get in on XRPL meme coins. They're low as feck. They really are. If something is going to happen in this scene, then it's going to happen sooner rather than later. Here is one called Bear. I think so. It's been around a bit longer, since April of 2024. So it was quite low then. So anybody who bought it in those early stages is up considerably, I think, reasonably anyway. But it is, again, you could suggest low. It's supporting the lows here from October. So this is quite nice to see this because it has a little bit more history. It's performed in exactly the same way as the other meme coins, except it's got history. Where we can see where it's come from before. That would kind of give me some more comfort to know that I'm buying a support. This area, it's come down here. It's retesting this as like a double bottom. Possibly hasn't quite got low enough yet. Maybe. As you can see, it's tinkering down lower at the minute, Bear. So it's in and around this area. You could suggest we're bottoming out in now or in the next coming days. XR Doge is another interesting one to look at because that's been around a very long time. Again, the chart is very similar. Very similar indeed. In fact, it's that's what I was waiting for. I knew it had been that low. So a very, very long time ago, it has been the price that it is now, which rolls into the double bottom thesis. But this one's been around since October of 2021, and yet the chart formation is still ending in the same way. We have a double bottom. October 21st, 2021. We are now back at those lows. It may go lower. I'm not saying XR Doge is a coin to buy. I'm just looking at the patterns and looking at this, this structure. And obviously from there, it's absolutely exploded. So if history were to repeat, and there's nothing to say that it can't, because if it went here and it went all the way up, I don't know how many X, but it's considerable, then what's to say that the liquidity market makers wouldn't do it again? It's just hype, isn't it? That's what Tulip Mania is all about. It's about hype, and liquidity breeds hype. So zooming back out, here we are in a very, very long duration of chart accumulation phase. It is cheap as chips, and where are we? Here we are, and the bottom again. seems to be the 24th of September on this one, 24th, 25th, and we start to move back up on the 26th. So we could do a gematria calculator. We could go from something like October, was it 17th, roughly, 2021, to September 24th of 2025, and we are, let's do it in months for you. Oh, whoops, years. There we go. It's 3 years, 11 months, 7 days. That's quite ritualistic. 3/11. That was the date of Luchdun. And of course, 2 more days to that. 25th, 3/11, 29. So that's, if you know your 9/11 history, you'll know that is the number of destruction. And that's when it started to rise again on that day, the 26th. So roughly time frame wise, XR Doge looks great as a potential purchase if we're going to get lucky from a date perspective. These are significantly low buys. It is a risk. I'm not telling you to buy, or speculate or do anything. But the entirety of the XRP meme situation is that it's all low. So what do we do with that information? Is you either put your money where your mouth is and you brave it up, or you don't. But my argument will be, why does it even exist? Does it truly exist to just siphon our money away and distract us from the real prize? Ultimately, in the future, yes, XRP is the prize. But right here, right now, they created it for a purpose. They allowed it to happen. And this sort of, kind of one spike wonder, I'm going to speculate that there will be an XRPL meme run. I'm going to speculate that there will. There's enough sentiment from enough accounts like Ripple's Welshie, NFA Crypto, not to say that these people can be trusted, but they seem trustworthy in the community and have gained a lot of trust from members. They seem bullish on certain cryptos, and I don't know if that speaks any volumes. But what have you got if you haven't got trust? You've got nothing, and sometimes you just have to trust. And I'm not necessarily trusting anyone else's opinion. I'm using my eyes, and I'm going with the idea of buy low, buy extreme fear and low, and sell high. So if I take a punt here and it goes up like this, I've achieved and I've lost nothing. Equally, if it all dissolves away, then that's the risk of life, and that's the risk I choose in life, is to make some of those kind of risks. Another one, this is the solo chart. This has been called a load of tripe and a scam a million times, but nevertheless, back in 2021, as the same period as that other meme coin, XR Doge, it had the same kind of euphoric pump. There's always a few little riddles that will have another pump one day as well. But again, it comes down to trust, and it comes down to that gamble, whether you're going to go for it. Again, long term, I don't think it has anything more than a speculative nature to it. It will be a pure gamble, but it will be about buying the lows. It's currently, you get 10 solo for 1 XRP, for example. And again, I'm not telling you to buy this. I'm just saying it is what it is. It's the lowest it's been in a very, very long time. And that is, regardless of looking at this particular coin, buying low when something you want to get, even if it was XRP or Bitcoin, the only time you want to be buying an asset is when it is low. Like you did with XRP for 6 years. You bought it when it was low, and you bought it because you were encouraged to, through all the different psyops that there were, that moon any day now. Well, every time somebody said XRP is going to moon tomorrow, it gave you more impetus to buy more XRP while it was low. And that's the reverse psychology of it. You bought it because you thought it was going to moon tomorrow, or you just thought it was great technology-wise, or you had a good idea in the future that it's going to be something. But the clever market makers, the people that actually want ordinary people to do well, they were encouraging us to buy throughout the entirety of the bottom of the market. And like a phoenix rising, that is what happened. And so all of us who've disciplined ourselves with buying low in those times, we've learned a valuable lesson. We've learned an absolutely incredible lesson of buying fear and buying doubt and buying when everybody else is against you. Those lessons you will never lose. And there will be other opportunities in the future. And right here, right now, the XRPL meme scene looks exactly like one of those opportunities. I can't give you any guarantees, but I have a good feeling. There's a great feeling in this community that something special will come along, and of course the XRPL is all part of it. And so I think it's appropriate now that we watch this quick video from 12,000 XRP, i.e. 12 and 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3 XRP. And it describes Tulip Mania. So whether this is a real account, fake account, doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. The information is relevant because it does describe that euphoric understanding of a market. And if we see that, and I think we're going to see that in the near future in all markets, literally all markets, then you're going to want to reflect on this video.
In the Dutch Republic of the 1600s, wealth was everywhere. Amsterdam's canals carried spices, silks, and treasures from across the world. Merchants dined on exotic fruits. Houses gleamed with stained glass and painted portraits. But among all this prosperity, one object of desire rose above gold, silver, and land itself: a flower, the tulip. And in the winter of 1637, a single bulb was worth more than a house. This is the story of Tulip Mania, a lesson in greed, in faith, and in the riddle of value itself. The tulip was not native to Europe. It came from the Ottoman Empire, carried west along trade routes. With its vibrant colors and rare streaked petals, it was unlike anything Europeans had seen. By the early 1600s, tulips were the fashion of the elite. To own them was to display power, wealth, refinement. But like all obsessions, the hunger spread downward. By the 1630s, tulip contracts weren't only for the nobility. Sailors, farmers, innkeepers, even servants were gambling on them. And here's the curious part. Many never saw the flowers. They were trading slips of paper, promises of bulbs that might bloom in the spring. The value was not in the flower, but in the belief. At its peak, a single bulb of the coveted Semper Augustus tulip could fetch the price of a canal house in Amsterdam. Men sold estates, borrowed fortunes, and staked livelihoods on bulbs buried in the earth. Taverns became trading floors. By candlelight, bids were shouted, contracts exchanged. The price of bulbs rose daily, hourly, minute by minute. One contemporary wrote, "The desire to trade tulips spread like the plague, so that everyone sought to buy them, thinking the price could only rise." But here lies the riddle. When everyone believes the value of something can never fall, what happens when someone finally says no? In February 1637, at a routine auction in Harlem, the room fell silent. A bulb came up for bid, but no one offered a price. It was small at first, hesitation, uncertainty. But panic spreads faster than desire. Prices tumbled. Merchants who had pledged fortunes were left with worthless slips. Contracts turned to dust. Within days, tulip values collapsed to a fraction of their highs. A bulb once worth 5,000 guilders couldn't fetch 50. The great flower frenzy ended as suddenly as it began. Strangely, the Dutch Republic did not collapse with it. The country remained wealthy, its merchants still powerful. The world moved on, but the story of tulip mania remained, told and retold as a warning. Some historians argue it wasn't as destructive as legend claims, that only a small group lost fortunes, while most simply walked away, embarrassed. Others see it as the first speculative bubble in recorded history, a parable that echoes through centuries, from the South Sea bubble to the dot-com crash, and yes, to cryptomanias of today. And here is where I must ask, what is value? Is it beauty in a petal, trust in a ledger, or belief in tomorrow's promise? Speculators point at XRP and whisper, it's just another tulip. But tulips could not move money across oceans in seconds. Tulips could not bridge currencies or settle debts. Tulips could not change the rails of global finance. The tulip was a flower to be admired. XRP is a river to be crossed. And when money must flow, the riddle remains. Will ripple guide the current, or will the crowd dance to a different tune? History offers its lessons, but never its answers. I leave you with this. When desire blooms faster than reason, beware the flower. When value rests on utility, not beauty, watch the river. And in the flow of time, ask yourself, which one are you holding?
Interesting, huh? Now, more interesting, did he just grow a moustache at the end of that? Let me see that. Right near the end.
And in the flow of time,
He doesn't have
ask
a moustache,
yourself,
but he's
which one are you holding?
about to grow one. How bizarre! Right at the end there. That's really strange. A moustache, huh? Okay, well, I'll deep dive that video at some point. But I wanted to play it to you so that you get the kind of comparison. Now, it sounds like, you know, he's highlighting Tulip Mania, and Tulip Mania was obviously a period of immense euphoria, but it was only for a small section of Holland, the Dutch, the Dutch people, which could suggest, if it's only a small set of people, an analogy to there's not going to be that many that fuck around and find out on the XRPL with meme coins. So it could be that they're either going to die completely, which I think they will in time, but I don't think now's the time. But if now is the time, then he's chosen this this time at the very bottom, what appears to be, what looks like the bottom of the market, to make this announcement. And so I think maybe what the Riddler is saying is that now is the time to speculate. Maybe he's saying now is the time to speculate, and maybe it won't be a very long time of speculation. The Tulip Mania, it didn't last long. Let's have a look. There's a few images on the internet. It didn't last long at all. Here we go. There we go. I think that's the best one. Great. Where's the image gone? Handy. Okay. Essentially, Tulip Mania, let's get rid of that. It was So this is midpoint of 1636, and there's a correction. I've seen one of the market elements. It looked a lot better, but it was just before 1637 that it peaked. Prices reached astronomical heights, with rare bulbs reportedly being traded for the cost of high-end houses, and then in 1637, a sudden loss of confidence triggered a market crash, wiping out fortunes overnight. So I know these aren't the exact dates. Let's see if we can find the exact dates, because that would be nicer. But essentially, I think he's suggesting, which is pretty obvious, we haven't had euphoric blow off top for XRP or altcoins or even the Russell 2000. So it's all to come, I think. And as a result, I think there is a lot of that to come, and we're going to see it. And I think he's saying that we're going to see it, but he's also saying, watch out, because you're going to get your fingers burnt. And I think as late as May next year, I think it could be not just over, completely disintegrated. The market could have completely gone. If we're looking at last year, it was around about the 16th or so the 17th of October, and here we are 11 months and 9 days later, another destructive number. We're looking at opportunity potentially, and opportunity is always good. If we go to May next year, it doesn't take that long for things to die again, and could our favorite number be a guiding stone for how successful this meme coin culture is going to be, and would it even last that long? It's something we don't know, and we're going to find out, I'm sure. But I would say the message is speculate, but don't be greedy. He focuses on greed, and remember that long term XRP is more than just speculation. But XRP also currently is in a speculative cycle, and it's not being used for utility, but it will be. So it's timing that right. If you're playing a game, just be careful. But if you're not playing a game and you're holding on forever, well, then you might as well just turn the internet off and just wait until 2030. Okay, I'll leave it there. All right, have a great day, and we'll get back into some more shizzle another day. Take care. Bye-bye.